Hey guys, welcome to Ringsiders. He's back. He's a ringsider himself now. Cary Silkin, how you doing?
All right, guys, what's going on? It's been quite a 24 hours.
Hasn't it just? I was in bed last night and got a message off a mutual friend of mine and Callum's, and I thought he was joking at first, and then I messaged Callum, was like, "Wow, okay, holy shit!"
I'll be honest,
But
it's one of the only announcements I've seen in months where, it's actually made you just say out loud, what the fuck? Like, I had no idea what was happening. I checked to see if it was real. I couldn't believe it. It was definitely real. For the people that don't know and I'm wondering what we're talking about right now, it's obviously in regard to the news that Ring of Honor has released the entire roster from their contractual obligations. I don't think anyone saw that coming, but I'd like to preface this with one thing. Anyone who might think that's a bit of a strange move for a company, let's remember that they did look after the talent during the pandemic and made sure everyone was paid. They've done everything they can during the pandemic, and this might have happened now, but they've still done a great job of fulfilling the contracts up to this point. So anything that goes from here, it's completely different.
And they're not released, they're not resigning as far as I know, but anyone who's got a contract through the end of the year is getting paid.
mm,
And anyone who's got a contract that rolls over, excuse me, into 2022 is getting paid until April 1st,
mm,
which is very generous, very admirable. Let's not forget during the pandemic, when WWE was dropping people like crazy.
Yep.
And, if you have a contract, not just in wrestling, but there's always outs by the
mm.
by the providers of the contract. There's some other cases like sports. I'm sure there's some big name football guys in the U, many of them, and so the athletes in the United States, they sign a 10-year contract, they break their leg, they're still getting paid. But as
Yep.
far as pro wrestling and most businesses in general, unless you're a huge star, uh, you, you could sign a 5-year deal, but it can be terminated, blah, blah, blah. So to Ring of Honor's credit, besides paying everybody during the pandemic, and we're talking, there was from the middle of March until August, till there were the first, TV tapings.
Mm.
Everyone got paid,
Yep.
including, your friends like our friends like Mark Haskins and Joe Hendry and Session Moth Martina, who Ring of Honor knew, Sinclair knew it's impossible for them to get to the United States.
Hmm.
And they could have said, look, we're paying everybody, but the foreign talent, I'm sorry, we're going to pay you. You get the picture. But
Yeah.
they didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And just to add to what Callum said as well, and I've said it plenty of times before. Let's remember as well that during the pandemic, as far as I'm concerned, and maybe you as well, and a few other people, Ring of Honor put out the best product out of any company for me.
Right.
So just to add that on what Callum said. But I did want to get your opinion on one thing, and I know he's a controversial figure, but I don't know if you saw what Dave Meltzer said today.
I don't think I did either.
Right. I just happened to be reading something and I saw it. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, Ring of Honor will be returning, but as the top indie promotion. They're not going to sign anybody. They're just going to use whoever the top indie talents are at that time. What's your take on that?
If everyone is let go, and there's a show in Texas where we will be together as one,
Mm.
Ring of Honor or not. But if that comes off, I'm sure, you know, Ring of Honor we can put together an awesome show. Yes, you're going to lose certain guys and they're not going to be able to work it. Maybe the relationships with the guys that go elsewhere will be open-ended enough that they could come do a shot, and there'll be plenty of guys floating around, but we have to get to that point. We still have a final battle coming up on December 11th, and yeah, man, it's you know, I have a lot of emotions with this. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm sort of, I don't know if I'm relieved, but yeah, I give Joe Koff. See, people don't. When I owned the company, oh, Cary, he saved Ring of Honor, and I was bleeding money, and I had to deal with that, and I had to deal with all the bullshit and working and all the guys below me. It's Sinclair. Joe Koff might not be bleeding the money, but not only does he have to deal with all the bullshit and all the mechanics and liability of running this and all the moving parts, you know, with the traveling and the just even doing the shows in front of no people. But on top of that, you got to deal with this massive corporation above him.
Yeah.
You know, so this could have easily, they could have bought the product from me, and after a year or two said, you know, Sinclair, you know, that was a good try, but let's put back on reruns of Seinfeld. It's much easier.
Yeah. But what's actually happened by the sounds of it is maybe they've identified that some things do need to change in the product, and instead of giving up on it completely, they're giving them the time to figure it out and see if there is something else they can do with Ring of Honor, because in the statement it said it's going to be a reimagining of Ring of Honor, and I think that interests me. Like, I know NXT has recently just come out with NXT 2.0, where they've like completely rebranded the feel of the promotion, and I think in a lot of ways it worked. Maybe Ring of Honor will benefit in the long run from this reimagining, whatever it means. Change isn't always a bad thing, especially in wrestling. So I am actually quite intrigued to see what happens.
Yeah, but there's a possibility. I don't think even Joe is sure about how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
But as someone who's invested, you know, my blood, guts, and money, and my heart into this,
Yeah.
naturally, I'd like the Ring of Honor name to go on as a living, breathing entity, as opposed to a greatest hits.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it is a greatest hits, we've had some great damn hits.
Yeah.
Oh God, my God, yeah. Well, I'll say it now. I love Ring of Honor, but I mean, Callum's told you before. Ring of Honor is arguably the reason you fell in love with wrestling, right?
It's the first indie I watched. It's the reason I fell in love with independent wrestling. It was the first wrestling I watched outside of WWE. I was blown away by it, and I can't imagine a time being a fan where Ring of Honor hasn't been there. So if this is the end, like you said, it would be bittersweet, but there would be some great hits in that time. And to me, I don't think there's another company outside of WWE who has affected wrestling as much as Ring of Honor. We've discussed it before. Like Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Samoa Joe have all come through Ring of Honor and made the name there before anywhere else. And if you take away Ring of Honor from the equation, how different does the wrestling landscape look? Because to me, it's completely unrecognizable. Some of the top stars in wrestling right now came from Ring of Honor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think as well? Obviously, this is just me thinking, but obviously, what Meltzer said. You look at a company like GCW. I mean, you've got the Briscoes, the tag champs now. They've had John Moxley turn up. Do you think that could be the way Ring of Honor goes, where you could maybe see a Daniel Bryan coming in or a Punk coming in?
In our Ring of Honor wet dream, right?
Yeah,
that's how we would like it, and I'm talking from a fan perspective. That's how we would like it. And all this has to, like one of my old buddies that I used to buy cocaine from used to say, "Oh, let's see how things shake out. Let's see what's going to happen." To your previous point about all the stars and shaping the land, all these grandiose things like shaping the landscape of pro wrestling. I think it can be argued, and it could be, oh, Cary's just saying this because it's during Cary's time of owning. But I think NXT was created out of, forget the guys in it. But I think the whole NXT model, Ring of Honor had heavy influence.
Yep.
And Triple H noticed that. They pay attention, and that was modeled. And I don't think there would be an AEW if it wasn't for Ring of Honor. But that's a long discussion.
We have touched on it before, and if you are interested, just go back and listen to all of Cary's episodes before. It'll be in there somewhere. But yeah,
you've got your own library, Cary. You've got your own library.
This is what I mean, though. The landscape does look different, and this is why I hope this isn't the end as a fan, because I still think there's more to the Ring of Honor story. That might just be me being selfish as a fan, thinking, well, I want it to go on. I don't understand what's going on backstage, but I just hope they'll work it out, because I don't think I'm quite ready for Ring of Honor to end yet.
None of us are. None of us are. I don't think the wrestling scene would be the same without Ring of Honor. I truly don't. I truly don't. I don't care what anybody says. Like Cary said, there won't be an AEW without Ring of Honor. Look at the star. Look at the top guys in WWE now in AEW.
Yeah.
Without Ring of Honor, where would they be?
And Ring of Honor signed Danhausen, so it's clearly they've got good taste in wrestlers, because no other company signed Danhausen, but Ring of Honor did. So that's why I trust Ring of Honor. We had to get Danhausen in somewhere, Jamie.
We did. Sorry, Cary. You know how much we love Danhausen.
That's all right. He's a good guy. I mean, I spoke to a lot of my friends yesterday who've Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, Dalton Castle, Todd Sinclair, Bobby Cruz. And, these guys, a lot of them are shell-shocked. Some people are, it wasn't a huge surprise, but they didn't think it was to this level. But as I told, there's guys like Lethal and Benny and this one and that one. I'm going to leave names out. This could also be a break for a lot of them.
Yeah.
To do something else. I was talking to Vinny, how he's created such a good character, and he's worked hard at it.
Yeah.
And he's laid groundwork. Would he? I don't want to speak for him, but I guess I am. So would he rather? He would rather have Ring of Honor existing and have that as his, home base. But at least, the work he's put in the last many years, and we could go down the list: Dalton Castle, this one, that one. The old cream will rise to the top. So,
yeah.
I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Yeah, I was saying to Callum before you came on as well. I mean, the talent that Ring of Honor has, they're not gonna, struggle to find work. And I mentioned Vinny too, Carl, because we spoke to him a couple of times, and I love the guy. For me as well, I mean, the Righteous were one of the greatest things in wrestling. I would love to see them stay together and maybe go somewhere.
Right. And that's what I was saying to Vinny, that, like the guy like him, the rug's been pulled out, but at least you've created this, this character, this theme, this story, and it could be brought to other places, whether it's with the whole Righteous, that'd be very nice for everybody, or just on his own. But yeah, so hopefully this isn't completely the end. There's going to be more to be seen, obviously, and I don't know. It's unfortunate that you guys couldn't be at Final Battle coming up in December.
Oh, well, I was only saying to Jamie just a minute ago that if this is the end, then this Final Battle has a really apt meaning to it this time. Like, it's a bit eerie that the pay-per-view coming up is Final Battle, and it is the final battle for the foreseeable future. I think this is going to be a really interesting, can't-miss pay-per-view from Ring of Honor, just to see what they go out with. I'm excited for it.
Well, I was taught in my talks with all these people yesterday, I think everyone's thinking the same thing, that let's make this a fun night. You don't want to have it as a funeral.
No.
It's very delicate to try to put this together. Obviously there's a dramatic business shift, and it's not going to be the same, but at the same time, let's make this is me talking, let's make this a celebration. Let's make this a tribute to what we've done in the past and are going to hopefully do in the future.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's it. They're still planning the show in Mania week, which they said is still going ahead. Obviously, me and Callum we'll be there, won't we, Callum? Yeah. And hopefully this is where we'll get to meet you as well and have that whiskey and cigar.
Yes.
I'm very positive, and I think it'll all be good, but I'm just I was just shocked. I mean, I feel like I'm lost for words. Like,
I don't think there was a better guest for us to have on the next day than you to discuss this with. And I'm thankful that we're able to talk about it with you, even if it is just all of us saying we don't know what's going to happen. I think you're the perfect guy to do that with, Cary. So, as usual, very much appreciate your input on these things, because you have got history with that company, as we've said so many times. There might not have been a Ring of Honor even now if it wasn't for yourself. And you're a humble guy. You never admit that, but it's true.
Well, there wouldn't have been. There wouldn't have been.
He admits it.
And we talked about this, and I should have closed. As a business, I should have closed like by 2006. As great as it was, financially, it wasn't working. I held on, pride, ego, but I loved the product, and I loved pro wrestling. And I knew that I was not, fortunately, I had a cap where I'm not going to completely jeopardize my livelihood.
No.
Which many a person has done in the wrestling business. But I was able to, keep it alive. And as we've talked about, Jim Cornette led to Gary Juster, who led to Joe Koff. And so we were able to get to that sale of Sinclair on May of 2011. And they've had the company for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
And once again, it's not easy. Everything people, I'm going to be repeating myself, but people think that, oh, Sinclair, and they're right. Trust me, Sinclair's worth a lot more money than WWE.
Yeah.
It's a friggin' massive thing. So how could this go sour? But whatever, we talked about it already. So we'll see. So I'm grateful for Sinclair to get us to this point today, to have all that great content and all that great wrestling after I sold it. With the Adam Coles and the Kyle O'Reillys and the Eddie Edwards and the Bobby Fishes and obviously, and then, the Bucks, my buddies, the Bucks always being around, and then having Marty Scurll and Cody come in, our relationship with New Japan on and off, and then getting to do Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's the dream come true, and once again, people that are fans of your podcast, you could go back and listen to me talk about these things, but the odds of me getting to walk out and sit at ringside and go in the ring and present a championship belt at a sold-out Madison Square Garden, the same place I went when I was 14 years old to see Pedro Morales and Freddie Blassie, the same place where I hustled tickets on the streets for years, in the late 80s. And for me to come out of that whole, with my addiction issues and that whole era, and then just falling into the Ring of Honor thing, and then to be able to stand in that ring at the Garden, it would be like hitting one of those crazy lottery Powerball things.
Yeah.
The prize tonight is $60 million, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just fantasy booking, not fantasy booking, but we've got Final Battle coming up, and obviously it's about the talent that are going to be performing. But do you think there'll be any attempts to reach out, maybe bring a few of the old guards back?
I hope so. I'd like, if I was able to have control of it, I would like to do that. I would like to. This is me. The hell with whatever storylines we got right now. The hell with them. Let's have these dream matches. Let's have the last match on the show be Homicide. And you could make some matches, but Homicide and Jay Lethal teamed up against the Briscoes.
Wow. Yeah.
To close the show. I don't know who's they got in mind for Bandito, but let's have some Ring of Honor classics. There's enough guys that are still on the card that give it that old feel. If we could bring in a couple of guys that are, whether it's an Alex Shelley, whether it's a Chris Hero, or whomever it might be, there's dozens of names we can throw in. And even if they didn't wrestle, just come, make an appearance. There's so much history to be recognized. It's going to be hard to do in one night. And at the same time, you don't want to say, well, goodbye.
Yeah.
You want to leave, you got to have the hope spot, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a good way of putting it. Yeah, there's got to be the hope spot where it's like, right, well, that could be the end, but it might not be. And give them something to look forward to. And for me, even if we don't know what it's going to be, just the thought of it coming back is still exciting to me, because it would mean Ring of Honor's back. And if it is the end, like you said earlier, Cary, at least it would be going out on the best possible note. And I'd love to see, like we said, some people come in for for this show, which is the last for the foreseeable future. I'd love to see Bryan Danielson there, personally, just because he was on the first show, and I'd love to see him here at the last one they're doing for a while.
Right. Him, a Cabana, obviously Punk. And how about WWE? Do us a favor. Will you let Seth Rollins come here for a night? Something like that.
Oh, that would be insane.
Right.
Yeah. You see, I think as well, the way Tony Khan is, I think he'd have no issue saying, yeah, Bryan Danielson, go to the show. Go to the show. Yeah, Bryan Danielson. Yeah.
I've never spoken to Tony Khan. I talked to the Bucks, and he's a very cool guy and very nice. But who knows how he wants to conduct business. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt AEW, and we'll see. Hey, maybe that'll happen. That'd be awesome. That's how I feel about the Super Card of Honor possibility.
Yeah.
There's going to be guys going to MLW or AEW, maybe some going to WWE, and then a lot of guys that are just going to, do these indies, do these GCWs and these other ones that have some traction. And hopefully by that time, it would be that kind of situation. Like, Tony Khan, do me a favor, bro. Just think we have the Bucks come in for one night, or
why not?
Something like that. And that would be sweet.
Yeah, this is like what I mentioned earlier, almost like the indie thing. Like you said, the Briscoes are the GCW Tag Team Champions. Why couldn't the Bucks come in and win the Ring of Honor tag titles, and then that be defended on AEW or things like that? I personally, I'm excited at the prospect of what could be coming. I'm staying positive.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll have the best, a super card, or like the title of it, just these super cards. Hey, if everyone was tied up and the Briscoes were here and Jay Lethal was there and Vinny was there and Silas Young was there and so on and so forth. Gresham was. We're still going to be able to pull guys. There's always guys coming and going. It's always been a rotating. One guy leaves. This is let's not bullshit. This is a unique situation because you're basically giving everyone, look, go do what you can do. God bless you. So we can slice and dice and beat this thing to death, but we don't know how it's going to shake out.
Well, this is true. And I know we're going to run out of time again in a few more minutes, and I don't want to cut off. But I'm not being negative. I'm looking to the future. Hopefully, we'll have it all back. And I say, me and Callum, we love Ring of Honor. It's one of the reasons we love pro wrestling. But before we go, obviously, plug that wonderful podcast of yours.
Well, the wonderful podcast, Last Stop Penn Station, has been on a little bit of a hiatus. My memoir, which the Last Stop Penn Station book, which has been worked on. That's been and it's been edited twice, but it needs one more round. That's been on a hiatus. But I believe next Tuesday night, which will come out a week from Friday, Ian and I are going to do a Last Stop Penn Station because of this current situation. And hopefully, and there'll be more Last Stop Penn Stations. But yeah, if you haven't heard Last Stop Penn Station, it's my stories and stories about, Ring of Honor and pro wrestling and characters and just these people I knew through my life. And it makes for interesting listening. Don't let the kids listen.
Well, I can speak on behalf of Callum, and I can tell everybody I highly recommend it. I love the podcast. I can't wait for the memoir as well. I've told you before, I collect wrestling autobiographies. I cannot wait for yours. It's going to be incredible. I will, hopefully get a signed copy. Wink, wink.
There you
but,
go.
But obviously, before it clicks off, Cary, I can't thank you enough. You know me and Callum love you. We can't thank you enough. And we're going to get you back on in a few weeks. Like I say, you've got your own library on our YouTube channel, and we want to keep that growing.
Yeah, and I'm happy for your guys' success. Just like I was talking about Vinny and other guys. You've persevered through murky, shark-filled waters, to try to do yet another interview wrestling podcast. But you were able, you're good guys. And when you're good, the word spreads.
Yep.
When you suck, the word spreads. So you guys are good. And so people want to do it. So I'm really proud of you guys.
Oh,
what are you? You're over 200 episodes or something?
260.
Wow. Almost 300 episodes.
Yeah.
So obviously, episode 300 is going to be you, right?
Yeah.
It can't be anybody else, right, Callum?
Eventually, they're going to get sick of me, but whatever. Fuck them.
Never. And we won't as well. So, but as always, it's an honor, Cary. I'll be in touch again. We'll get you back in a couple of weeks and we'll do it again.
All right, boys. Love you.
Love you too, man. You take care.
Take care.